for cyber for a very large healthcare organization. What that means is we've got to be able to take a whole lot of information, a whole lot of reports, things that we think are important, and really distill those items down into actionable information that a board of directors can take a look at and either feel good about their security posture or understand where the gaps are and then what it takes to close that gap. Now, as we all know, when you're briefing board of directors, these men and women are very rarely technologically savvy. They're very rarely understanding of cyber. Their knowledge of cyber is probably a 60 minutes meeting or a TV program they saw 2 weeks ago, or some article they read in a magazine somewhere. So what we've been able to do is be able to take information that is very complex, very technical, distill it down, and get it into a format of amazing reporting. The biggest thing that I can say for reporting with this particular product, if you've never used it before, take a demo of it. There's a nice, what we call a credit wheel, and it'll take a look at all your assets and tell you by your asset inventory where your risk score is actually at. We were able to go through and figure out what assets were actually critical assets, what assets had a priority, which those were not always the same, and then group those assets so we could look at what is a critical asset, what is a priority asset, put them into respective groups that in turn change the risk score for that group. I think maybe it goes without saying, but I'll say it anyways. If you have a critical asset and a 0-day vulnerability comes out for that asset, but yet the asset's critical, that 0-day vulnerability remediation of that asset goes right to the top of the list. Not that 0-day vulnerabilities don't get prioritized, but in the list of all of your assets, the critical ones go to the top. That was not always the case for our client. They didn't always look at how to go do the remediation. It was more of a shotgun mentality of a 0-day vulnerability came out, go apply patches everywhere and do everything, and then give me an update every 4 hours. It was a little bit of a helter-skelter. Because we were able to group the assets, look at where they're at in the enterprise, and be able to then determine, yes, these are critical. 1,000 assets can't be critical, right? It's just, if everything's critical, nothing's critical. So we really worked with the client to say what is critical, group them accordingly, and gave them a different priority, which then in turn changed the risk score. And we were able to get better clarity around what the risk really is.